I am officially 36 weeks pregnant. There will be a baby in this in a couple of weeks. Every time you look in the mirror, you feel like you've grown seemingly overnight. I got an exciting little delivery. I've packed my hospital bag. I find that pregnancy already kind of feels like a lonely experience. Inviting other people into the experience is not necessarily a bad thing. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, which means that I am officially 36 weeks pregnant. The baby is the size of a lettuce head today, and I actually just started gathering some postpartum supplies. These I was seeing everywhere online. They're just some little pads that you put in your underwear or your pad, and it helps with just like cooling and soothing. Self-explanatory. Probably the most glamorous item is stool softener, and then I also picked up some gravel. I used a lot of ginger gravel in my first trimester. My midwife actually recommended this if I get any cramping, to take gravel and Tylenol. This is like more so for the last couple weeks of pregnancy, just so that I can get some rest, because gravel has like a drowsy factor. I've been seeing so many things online about all of the postpartum essentials, and I kind of wanted to just know what people actually used versus what wasn't worth it, because I added a few things to my Amazon cart and it really adds up. And this is like aside from things that you buy for pregnancy and things that you buy for the baby. So again, really wanting to limit like unnecessary items that I'm only really going to use once, unless they're going to be very worth it. So I just did a little poll where I basically went through a bunch of popular kind of postpartum items, and I'm gonna highlight that on my Instagram just to see like, is it worth it or pass. So I'll probably start to get that bag together this week, and also the hospital bag, which many of you said should probably have already been done, but honestly I feel like I'll be fine. I really know where everything that I need to put in is, and I already have like a list of everything that I want to put in. It's gonna be like 5 minutes to put into a bag, but I do just have this weird thing about packing where unless I have like an imminent need, I always put it off. Like if I'm going on a trip, I'll put it off until the very last minute. It was really interesting when I posted that reel about postpartum things, and you know, some of it is not very glamorous, things like diapers and these pads that are for like hemorrhoid relief. I was feeling self-conscious posting some of these items because I was like, oh, like some of the people that follow me are probably gonna be grossed out by this, or it's gonna be weird. And then I like caught myself and I was like, you know what, no, this is the reality of what so many people go through. And I actually wasn't aware of all of these things before being pregnant. I didn't know anything about like tearing. I didn't know that, you know, there was a long healing process after. And yeah, it's not the most glamorous or like nice thing to think about, but that's the reality of what a lot of people go through. It is very intense on the body, and I just think people who are maybe supporting you or in your life during that time should be aware of, you know, what that entails, and maybe even having them support you with getting some of this stuff. Jamie and I actually went through the list together, and I made sure he knew what each thing was for. Again, because I think that's also helpful when you are sort of immobilized potentially, and having people around you being able to just like grab what you need without having to like explain what each thing is. A few months ago, we were having this conversation with a couple, and when Jamie said that he was kind of doing some prep for being a birth partner, the man in the couple kind of like snickered at him, and they were also expecting, and he kind of just said like, why do you need to know that stuff? And I thought it was really kind of interesting, but also kind of sad, because I find that pregnancy already kind of feels like a lonely experience, and then let alone if you're feeling like you have to be like doing all of the research and understanding all of the different parts of pregnancy and going to appointments by yourself and not having any support in that department, and not even feeling like that's a reasonable expectation and that it should be just you going through it. I think that inviting other people into the experience is not necessarily a bad thing, even if they aren't currently going through that themselves. I'm having my little morning dates, and this is a little morning concoction of sparkling water, grapefruit juice, and an electrolyte tablet, and a little bit of water. Mostly because for whatever reason, I've been finding it kind of hard to keep up my fluids and continue to drink water. And I feel like for a long time, I was always like, electrolyte tablets, are they really necessary? To be honest, I just like the way they taste. And if they help me to drink more water, then that's fine for me. The ones that I've been using are called Noon, N-U-U-N, I believe. I think they'll also be good for postpartum. My go-to breakfast lately has been either smoothie, yogurt, and granola. And if it's yogurt, usually like plain Greek yogurt. It's kind of the only yogurt that I really like, and the one that I usually get has a lot of protein, which is nice. Or I'll have an egg white wrap. I don't know how I got onto this, but I think I like it because it's so easy. And what I've realized is even something as simple as like cracking eggs into a pan, sometimes I don't want to do it. So making things as easy as possible, especially in the next chapter, I feel would be really important. Last week I mentioned that one of our tasks for the week was to move the baby things that were in this upstairs bedroom downstairs because that's where we're going to be sleeping. So here's the closet. Honestly, when I look at this, I realize it's really not that much stuff. From what I understand about newborns, they really don't need that much stuff anyways. I will show you sort of what we have going on here. One thing that a lot of people recommended when I asked, you know, what are some of the newborn essentials, were Velcro swaddles. So we got a few of those. They're from Swaddle Me, and this is what they look like. I think they came in a pack of 3. I am going to be honest, I don't really know how to use this, but I'll have to watch a video or something. I'm sure it's easy. The rest of this little organizer is basically just a bunch of little newborn onesies. A lot of people basically said that's all they really wear in the first few months is these little zippered footies. A lot of you recommended specifically zippers because it just makes the whole process of like getting them in and out and changing them a lot easier. Oh my gosh, something just hit me. There will be a baby in this in a couple of weeks. And honestly, a lot of this was secondhand. My mom did a lot of thrifting for us. I feel like babies fit into this size and potentially don't even fit in at the beginning. But if they do, I feel like they fit into it for such a short period of time. This is one of Jamie's hand-me-downs. I don't think that's newborn size. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're bringing down is just the onesies and clothing. These came highly recommended. They're some little soothers or pacifiers, and they're from a brand called Bibs. I don't really know if it matters what they use, but this came highly recommended, so that was one of the things that we did buy. So many recommendations for getting one of these, which is basically like something that you can use while you're breastfeeding to collect milk on the side that you're not feeding on. I can start to build a little supply in the event that I do want to, like, you know, go out on my own and not have to worry about breastfeeding. I don't know where these came from. I think Jamie got these at one point, and I think that they're little burp cloths. And then a couple of swaddle blankets. This is just a little blanket that we thought we could use in the car seat coming home from the hospital because it's February and it's Ontario, so it will likely be cold. It's not February right now, but I'm due in February, just to clarify. We have some socks. Don't necessarily know if we'll need the socks because a lot of the onesies have feet on them, but just in case we use any of these like little pants. This was also highly recommended to us. It's a sleep sack from Halo. This one's a little bit different because it's fleece. So on kind of like colder evenings, we can use this. This I must have shown a number of months ago. Eddie Bauer sent me this, and it's a little baby snowsuit. I also got a few packs of these little velvet hangers, which are good for baby things because they're small, and also the item that you hang won't slip off. Okay, I did everything in sort of a weird order. This is the kind of organizer. It's nothing fancy. This is just from Walmart. I basically took things out of the organizers and then ended up putting them back in. This is kind of the sleepers with the footies, and then the swaddles. We have some hats, and then these are kind of short sleeve onesies or like long sleeve, but they have no feet. And then we have socks, and back here we have some pants and little t-shirts. And then this stuff is kind of miscellaneous. We have the nursing bras and the pads here, and then I have that pump collector thingy, some soothers, and then the burp cloths underneath, and some more blankets and swaddles back there. And then just a little section of the closet for some warmer things and some little fleece onesies. I made myself a little snack bowl. This has got to be like probably one of my favorite things, is like crackers and cheese and just little veggies and little snacks. We recently discovered these little like pretzel, I don't know what you call them, little like pretzel bites from Costco. I also have my little grapefruit juice drink. Now I had high hopes for today to be a very productive day. I feel like I'm sort of feeling a bit of pressure for every day to be like really productive, because obviously the number of days that I have to like get a bunch of work done are very few. And not to say that I won't be able to get work done, but I guess just like trying to get specifically things that I need uninterrupted time to work on done. And I think because I've been feeling so great throughout this pregnancy, I kind of like forget that what I'm going through is like a very significant process, and that there are going to be days where I just don't feel like doing anything. I feel like I really did not get a good sleep last night, and so that's probably why I'm feeling this way now. But I think I'm honestly just going to lean into it a bit. I don't really have much on the agenda that I like have to get done, and realistically this whole concept of like needing to get things done and false urgency sometimes really irks me anyways. One thing that I do want to do though, and I can easily do it from bed, is we have this reusable film camera, and we haven't used it in a really long time. We just got it from London Drugs when we lived in Vancouver, but I thought it'd be kind of a nice idea to have some film photos of maybe the pregnancy and maybe even the birth. Now I won't lie to you, I know it's probably very easy to do, but I don't know how to put film in a camera. And I know that film can be like really expensive, so I just don't want to ruin this. I'm gonna watch a tutorial. I know this is probably gonna be one of those things that I'm immediately gonna be like, oh. This is kind of the downfall of the internet, is I don't trust myself to do anything without Googling it. This is what it looks like. It's actually like a black and white film, and I'm not sure if this is still the case, but we went to go get this developed a few years ago, and we were just kind of like messing around with the camera and not really like realizing how expensive it is to develop. And specifically black and white film, maybe it was just like a shortage issue at the time, but it cost like $100 to get 2 rolls developed, and I was very surprised by that. Okay, pull or push out the rewind knob. Insert 35mm film canister into film chamber. Okay, so that thing faces down, push back down the rewind knob. I'm sorry if some of you are watching this and it's like the most intuitive basic thing, but yeah, that's the big activity for the day. I think I'm gonna be sort of relaxing for the rest of the day. Okay, I got a second wind and I made myself a little drink. This is just like, it's the small things that bring you joy. This is a little bit of cranberry juice, soda stream, water, and lime juice and ice. And also there's something about drinking a drink through a straw. I've had this little routine for a couple of nights now where I'll sit on my exercise ball, which I'm sitting on right now, but you can't see it, and I'll just listen to this hypnobirthing course that I've been taking, just kind of as a way of preparing my mind and body for birth a little bit more. But a little cautionary tale, I was wearing shorts yesterday and I was sitting on my exercise ball for so long that my skin literally ripped off when I tried to stand up. So I literally lost a layer of skin on my butt, which was not ideal, but I am going to record a podcast episode, and after I've done that, I will have basically pre-scheduled everything up until the baby comes. So obviously I still have a couple more weeks, so I'll try to get even more pre-scheduled so that I can take some time off and not have to do any episodes, because that's the one thing that kind of requires a good chunk of time. I'm beginning to understand what they say about the third trimester, specifically like the last few weeks of the third trimester, which is essentially that every time you look in the mirror, you feel like you've grown like seemingly overnight. I've taken a lot of like footage of the growth and the belly, and I think it'll be kind of cool to look back and see just how quickly things have progressed. Now, where I left off yesterday was essentially saying that I had a second wind. I was going to record a podcast and, you know, get some work done. That did not happen for 2 reasons. Number one, my laptop is like literally on its final leg. I feel like it's not really meant for the type of video editing and like podcast editing that I've been doing a lot of recently, and I'm just starting to feel it decline. So the process is very frustrating. But number two is, honestly, I'm at the point where trying to record a podcast episode and being so out of breath is proving to be a little bit difficult. And occasionally I just have these moments where I'm like, I feel like I'm forcing this. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it for today. I have felt like pretty exhausted yesterday and today. Obviously, like, yes, I'm in my final trimester of pregnancy and my body's going through a lot, but also I realized that I haven't had a coffee either yesterday or today. And I usually have a coffee every day, sometimes two. But honestly, weirdly enough, I've kind of been feeling similar to what I felt in the first trimester, which was like almost kind of disgusted by coffee. That went away after like, I want to say 11 weeks, but it sort of feels like it's creeping back in a little bit. So I do think that lack of caffeine is probably contributing to my feelings of exhaustion right now. But also I saw this video a few days ago, and basically this person had just given birth and they were saying like the version of me that made all these plans to be productive and do certain things after giving birth like is not the current version of me. And I kind of feel the same about pregnancy, where it's kind of like taking it day by day. And yes, it would be nice if I could be at optimal productivity every single day and feel really accomplished and feel really prepared. But honestly, sometimes it comes to the day that I have all these plans for and I'm just really not feeling it. So just being able to be a little bit more gentle with myself has been something that I've been learning. One thing I have been getting a few questions about though is like where we're at with our nursery prep, if we're doing a nursery, all of those kinds of questions. You know, there are so many things that you could prepare and things that you could do that may be enjoyable. And for me, interior design and just like making a space aesthetic and that whole thing is something that like overwhelms me, and it's not really something that interests me very much. I've also spoken with a lot of people who said that they didn't really use the nursery for the first like 6-ish months of having the baby. I kind of feel like it's just one of those things that you have to decide what's right for you and your family, and you know, we always will have the option of establishing a space at any point and kind of going with the flow. But honestly, for now, the plan is we have a bassinet that a friend lent to us. It's a Halo, I believe, and we're gonna have that in our bedroom down here, which was where I did all the clothing organization and stuff earlier in the video. From my understanding, they can outgrow these anywhere from like 3 to 6 months. Around that point, I think we would make the decision of, okay, do we want to transition into a bedroom, their own bedroom, or do we want to just have like a crib with us in the room? It's kind of hard to know what will be the best decision until you're actually in the situation. I do think we'll probably bring this dresser down to be sort of a diaper station. It's not really being used for anything right now, and it seems like a pretty good size, and it will kind of fit in our bedroom downstairs. So that's probably what we'll do for kind of having diapering and wipes and all that stuff and supplies in there.
Okay, so Siobhan's been obviously making some postpartum meals and made a series about it. So I just thought I would add to that list, and I made some swamp soup. I'll show you what it looks like. Oh. Okay, that went so badly. It was pretty easy actually. We just used the pre-cooked chicken, and then it was just like jalapenos, garlic, ginger, that kind of thing. It tastes really good actually.
It's gonna be too hot.
Yeah, all right.
Mmm, delicious.
That's spice.
Yeah, that's so good.
Good, eh?
Yeah. Good morning. Today is Monday. I have a few errands to run today. It kind of feels like we're down to the last few things that we have to kind of pick up. Finally going to pack our hospital bags. It's weird because I feel like maybe part of the reason that I've held off on doing that, or like I haven't got around to it yet, is because it's almost like when I do that, it could happen anytime, which I know is like just in my head, it could happen even before packing the bag. I don't know if I've said this before. In fact, I definitely don't think I have. I have kind of been convinced for the last little while that I would deliver a little bit earlier than 40 weeks. My feeling is like somewhere between 37 and 39. Don't ask me why I feel that way, but you heard it here first. We're gonna pick up some little last minute things today. I wanna get like the diaper station all set up. We have that bassinet that I mentioned, getting that brought up. It's in the basement right now. And just getting to the point point where like we could feel really comfortable and ready if, you know, I were to go into labor basically at any point. I do have a lot of family nearby. My parents live around the corner, my sister lives around the corner, my brother is not too far away. So I feel like if there's anything that like we don't get around to that we need an extra hand with, luckily we have some help there, which is such a blessing. One thing that we honestly had not considered or thought of is like a diaper genie or something like that. I don't know, I'd heard diaper genie online so many times and I really didn't even know what that was. And initially I was like, for diapers we would just put them in our regular garbage, which is in the kitchen. But given that the baby is going to be in our room for at least the first 6 months and there will probably be a lot of diaper changes throughout the night, I think it would be kind of nice to have something accessible and close by. So we're gonna go look for that today. I've kind of heard mixed reviews about the diaper genie in terms of like, does it actually mask the smell? And from what I understand, as long as you're changing it regularly and you're using the actual like branded diaper genie bags, then it actually does work pretty well for that. I just got the signature one. It's like 50 bucks. I think they have a few different options. This one seemed to be pretty well reviewed. That cabinet that I showed you for the diaper kind of station is gonna go here. So I'm just gonna set up the diaper genie in this area. And by setup, I mean literally take it out of the box. I thought that this would be like more pieces. Pull the bag out a few inches. Turn pail upside down. Insert refill compartment from the bottom. Seems about right. Whew. Okay, diaper genie setup, I think. Okay, so just as I was finishing up with the diaper genie, I got an exciting little delivery. I had wanted to try a TENS machine for sort of the early stages of labor. A lot of midwiferys will have them, I guess, on hand, or maybe not a lot, but some that you can borrow or like rent. Mine didn't, but I found one in my area that did. This is what it looks like. And let me just read out what it is. Okay, so this is from Evidence-Based Birth. It says, TENS is a non-drug or non-pharmacological way to help manage pain. It's a handheld portable device that is connected to electrodes. You place the pads on the body. Through the electrodes, mild electrical pulses are sent through the skin and the body to the person's spinal cord and brain. Most frequently applied on the lower back, on either side of the spine. I'll leave the episode that I kind of listened to about TENS in the show notes as well if you're curious about that. But it was just another kind of interesting thing that I wanted to try for pain management during labor. I'll also probably watch a few videos on how to set this up, but it seems pretty straightforward. I've packed my hospital bag. I'm putting everything into a suitcase because I think that's just easier, and then I kind of divided it into different packing cubes. So this is all the baby stuff, and I have my things, toiletries, some sandals, and then some snacks, and a few other things that I haven't packed yet because I might need them. So a portable charger, a little film camera, my Kindle, my AirPods, some mints, and I kind of want to have these separate so that they're easily accessible. We have a midwife's appointment tomorrow and I'm really looking forward to seeing the positioning of the baby. We went last week and my midwife said that the back was still kind of like against my back and they want the baby to be kind of like back facing forward. I also watched this YouTube video yesterday about just like tips for easier delivery, and someone said like getting into the habit of leaning forward encourages the baby to kind of be forward. My midwife did suggest stretches on hands and knees, like cat-cows and stuff, so I've been kind of doing that. Luckily the head's down and everything, so that's good. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to finding out about the positioning tomorrow. I also think I'm going to create a vision board for the delivery. I just like creating vision boards in general. I'm gonna start to do that today, and then maybe I'll reveal that in next week's vlog. For now, I think I'm going to leave this vlog here. Again, I'll touch base with you tomorrow. I'll keep you posted on how everything's going. I hope you've been enjoying this series so far. Thanks for being here with me, and I'll see you in the next video.